like the acting technique. There's so many acting techniques there, like uh, different writers, different authors, like different acting teachers were there. So I think, like the most impressive, what I found the best approach to acting, um, acting was, like according to me, was by Michael Chekhov. And the reason was, like there is so many, like, I mean, if you say that Stanislavski system was there, in the Lee Strasberg method was there, Stella was there, Meisner, Michael Chekhov, like that's, there's so many names, like you can see on my screen. But what I found was Michael Chekhov was one of those people, like who gave outside to inside approach. So means, like anything we experience physically has a direct impact on our inner life. And that was actually his concept of, like working with actors, or the techniques that the actors can use. But I think that's I think one of the best way to actually look good on the screen, to be honest. Like when I was just looking at so many actors which I admire, even from Hollywood to Bollywood, or other places, even like if you talk about um, Johnny Depp, or even the Shah Rukh Khan. Like that's my guess, is like, because a lot of people say he makes so many faces and stuff like that. But what I think is his approach to acting is, like same as Michael Chekhov's technique is just like outside to inside approach. Like I give you an analogy and a little bit of an example that may not be relative, but I think let me just kind of give you some idea about that. If you think that somebody slap you on the face, there is it gonna affect your inner life? Yes, it is gonna affect your inner life. How you feel about that, all right? You definitely feel something about that situation. And if there is, like if you have to say some lines, and if you just kind of, if you just see that, like how physically you feel about that, right? And then go from there and see that how you can get to that particular emotion. And it's just like you just move in different forms. There are different exercises, right? Like how you can make a movement and see that which movement, listen to me, which movement is relevant for that particular line that you're going to speak in front of the camera. That's something like really, really very important, because you have done the physical part, and you know that one particular physical movement has a certain impact on your inner life. And that's what we're looking for. Acting is like how you, like, it's a combination of both of these two, like inner life and your physical, like how it looks physically too. I mean, that's very important. I think Michael Chekhov was Stanislavski's was a student. I think by the end of the time, I heard from somebody that, like he said that whatever Michael Chekhov is doing is perfectly, I mean, all right. I mean, that's really how it should be doing it. Like there's, I don't mean to say that my, like Stanislavski doesn't give you much, but he gave you a lot. But at the same time, like the his approach, he has so much to do. If you hear his recordings and stuff like that, I mean, you will understand a lot about the acting, and so much you will learn from there. But I think there is some part of acting, some very practical means of doing that, like and another thing is, a lot of times, if you work on your physical movements, and then if you can reach a certain emotion with the one set of a movement, then you can use the same movement to trigger the inner emotion while you're speaking that line, and that actually pretty much does the job for you. And I think, like after learning Michael Chekhov, what I found, like so many actors, like who does so many physical movements, I truly kind of understood it. It's like Michael Chekhov was like such an amazing artist. And to be honest, when you see that a lot of people who are getting awards, like who are just known faces and very popular faces, you would actually see that most of them are actually following Michael Chekhov's work. And Shah Rukh Khan is one of them, actually. That's my thinking. Like I I may not, I think I'm right. That's what I'm thinking. Like I may not be, but I do think, I think that's because Shah Rukh Khan, when I see that he does so many physical movements are in his work all the time, and I think he learned from, uh, who is that guy in like his acting coach, the he was a white guy. I don't remember his name right now, but I heard from a friend. I mean, I think they do teach in their schools the Michael Chekhov's technique. If you want to learn it, I mean, just go forward to it. And there's so many YouTube videos and resources up there. I mean, who can tell you about that, how to use that. But if you're an actor, if you're just trying to work on that on your craft, I think definitely give it a shot and see that how you feel about it. If you have any ideas, any comments, or